focus. Alright, hey everyone, this is Dead Puppy here. Recently did some work on a pair of Dogbite Balisong kits from USA Knife Maker. I've wanted to get into knife making for a while. I don't always have a lot of time to do it, but every once in a while I try to get a new project, each one a little bit more involved than the previous one, so I can try to get some experience in knife making. These would be my second and third full Balisong modifications, I guess you could say. The first one being this Benchmade 51 that I made stainless steel handles for and re-anodized and etched up and everything. This was my first one, and my next project were these two. And I got two of them because the price is right, and I figured I'd get twice as much experience. And obviously, you can see I made them both fairly similar, but in function anyway. But I wanted to make them look very different, so I can get some different types of experience, trying different things on these. I guess I'll start with this one. Well, I guess I'll go over the overview of what both of them were. The first thing I did was made some very big aluminum spacers. I made it latchless. One, I like the clean look at the ends of handles that are latchless, and also I wanted to make these spacers as big as possible because these handles are fairly short. And you can see next to a 42 or a Alpha Beast, they are quite a bit shorter, and they're also thinner, so I wanted to get a lot more weight near the ends, and using aluminum I needed to make these spacers as big as possible. The next thing I did was I rounded the handles, not real round like a 42, but just kind of rounded the edges, so it's nice and comfortable, nice and smooth. And then well, actually before that I skeletonized just near the top, just to give some, I guess, a little bit of traction, and also to look kind of neat. I left the bottom flat just so I could save some more weight near the bottoms of the handles. And then the last thing I did that was the same on both of these was I ground off the horns, so those wouldn't get in the way during flipping, and also they're flush with the handles, so it looks kind of nice. Now I'll start with this one. I wanted to go two ways on these. I wanted to make a rough, older looking one, and I guess a shinier, more traditional looking Balisong. On this one I decided to go a little rough. I acid etched and stone washed the blade, and then went over and kind of roughed it with some real fine grit to make it smooth. A problem I ran into on my 51 when I acid etched this and stone washed it, the finish is real rough. It looks great, but it's kind of rough, so anytime I did a rollover or like a how do you say it, a behind the eight ball, this would I guess slow down anytime it came in contact with my fingers. So I roughed this one up and then went over it with some fine grit sandpaper, so it looks rough, but it's actually very smooth. And this is the first time I ever tried to put an edge on a knife, and the first go through didn't go real well, so I'm not real happy with this edge. Nah, not really at all. I did get it decently sharp. It's paper cutting sharp. Oh, I'm going out of focus here. Let me get back in here. But yeah, that's the blade. I also acid etched and ground up the aluminum handles, or not aluminum handles, the spacers, to kind of match the blade, and give some contrast on the ends of the handles. The handles themselves, I anodized the entire handles bronze, and on the insides, and roughed this up. And then what I did was I partially polished off the flats. What I was originally going to do was polish it all off and then chemically darken and chemically darken and stonewash the handles to match the blade a little bit, but then have this bronze roughed up tips. But as I was polishing this off, I started up here with that, polishing it nice and silver, and then I noticed that I had kind of a faded look going on as it went from silver, and then you can kind of see on camera there it kind of fades back into bronze. And I thought it was an interesting look. I don't usually see it on a lot of knives. So I went with it and kind of polished off the edges here. And now I got a kind of contrasty, different kind of look going on. I'm actually really happy with how it came out. Yeah. So that's that one. The next one, since I have two, I don't necessarily need to keep two. They both flip nearly identically. So I'm probably going to sell this knife. I don't really have much reason to keep it, other than the fact that it looks cool, but I could sell this and maybe fund some future Balisong projects or something like that. But anyway, the next one is, I guess, more of a traditional one. At first glance, I guess I drew some inspiration from this from another one of my knives. I started off, when I made this one, I had a lot of hefty goals in mind, but as I was making these knives, I kind of realized that the things I wanted to do, I didn't necessarily have the equipment or the experience to really pull off what I wanted to do. So I kept it a little bit more basic, and I sort of pulled inspiration from my favorite knife, and my currently only custom knife, a custom Terry Gwynn, and I kind of liked the color scheme on this. I've always loved the blue-silver contrast, so I sort of did the same thing with this one, with the blue insides of the handles and also the blue holes. What you can kind of see on the inside, though, it's really hard to capture on the camera. Another thing that I did here was similar to the 51, that swirling pattern, I did that on the insides of the handles as well. It didn't come out as well as I hoped because I wasn't really thinking ahead. The handles are a little closer together than I'm used to because this blade's a little thin. So the effect I was going for, you can't really see it as well. You can kind of see in there the sort of a swirl. Oh, there's a better view. The swirled pattern on the handles on the inside. Also, I did that on the blade as well. And if I can focus, you can see that I have that jeweled machine finish on the blade. And that's another thing I don't see a lot. I think I saw it on a Matt Cook custom. Well, actually one of the custom Alpha Beasts. Oh man, my camera's just not focusing with me today. But so yeah, that's what I did with this one. And there we go. So and it's nearly a mere polish. You can, well, see me filming here with my phone. So it turned out kind of nice. That's that one. This one I am going to keep for myself. I like it, and while it's not nearly like the true master of Balisong making here, it was where I get some of my inspiration from. I am a huge fan of Terry Gwynn's knives, and I would love to be this good one day. So I like to keep this knife as a reminder of how much further I have to go before I can get to this point. But as my this one would have been my third, as my second and third knives ever, modifying, I guess. I'm fairly happy with what I got. They aren't the world's best flippers. I think they are very good flippers, though. Obviously, I tried to balance them as well as I could, and I think they are very well balanced. I'll get another quick little demo video here shortly, and then I'll make hopefully a nicer, better edited video with some of these. I probably won't flip this one too much, since I do plan to sell it. I don't want to. I don't want to beat it up too much. The one thing I will mention is that these smudge ridiculously easy. This one was polished up to 400 grit, and then to get the anodizing off, I used 1000 grit sandpaper, so it's pretty smooth, and as a result, smudge is ridiculously easy. I mean, you've greasy fingers, that will show up. This one is even worse because this was polished to 1000 grit, so it's so fingerprints do show up a lot. I was going to I'm very distracted here, I realize. I was going to make a sort of a little paracord latch, I guess you can say. I wasn't really thinking and didn't realize that paracord wouldn't fit in these holes. But I did drill those out so that you could put something in there. It's not threaded at all, it's just drilled through for whatever reason. But yeah, as back to my point, as flippers, I think they're pretty decent flippers. I can't really do much right now with the holding this camera like it is, but they do flip pretty well. They're heavier than a 42, I want to say, or actually similar, close to the same weight as a 42. But since they are smaller, I feel like they're a little bit more handle biased. I think they're balanced very well, and they flip very smoothly. And they have very little play. I dialed in the bushings as well as I could. So I mean that's not focusing here, but that's all the more play there is. And there is, at least on my blue one's a little bit closer, but there is no blade rub on the inside. It comes kind of close, but man, I'm really out of focus now. There we go. But there's, if you can kind of see in there, there's no blade rub. So very tight tolerances. Almost as tight, I would say, as the Tachyon 2. More so than my Gen 1 Alpha Beast, or Production Alpha Beast. This is tightened all the way on the bushings, but it's a little loose. But these ones, they're very quiet, so they flip pretty well. And the only gripe I guess I have with them is they are kind of short. Sometimes I say, yeah, I could flip a shorter balisong just fine, but I know a lot of people flipping these would probably prefer some longer handles. And I would probably have to agree. I think that's when I flip them, that's really the only gripe I have. That's the only problem I ever have, is sometimes I just don't have as much room on the handle as I'd like. But otherwise, yeah, these are my two Dogbite Balisongs. I'm no professional by any means when it comes to knife making or anything, but this is my second and third attempt at modifying a knife, and I had a lot of problems, but I'm really happy with the results. and it's a lot of fun. Hopefully I can keep going like this and learning a lot. I want to say thank you to USA Knife Maker for making these Dogbite kits. They're just a fantastic place to start for a new guy like me, and they're overall just a great knife even to begin with. And also on Jersey Devil forums, there was a Dogbite Balisong build-off that I tried to get into, but with school I didn't have time to finish these in time, but there were plenty of people in there, and we also had a group buy, so I could get these a little bit cheaper because of that. So thank you to Jersey Devil forums, and without them I never would have found out about these. So yeah, if you want a great place to, or a great starting point if you want to get into making Balisongs, these are the way to go. That's all. I'm sorry it took me so long to say what I wanted to say, but I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks.